Record Store Day Black Friday 2023 is this week. As I'm recording this, I'll legit be uploading it the next day that I'm recording this. And in my opinion, this is probably one of the worst lineups of music being released that I've seen. This time it doesn't seem like there was a massive effort to put a ton of interesting stuff out, especially with some great albums hitting anniversary milestones. Like David Bowie's Aladdin Sane hitting 50, Dark Side of the Moon hitting 50. That should have definitely gotten a Record Store Day release in my opinion. And the Beatles' Please Please Me, their first album, hitting 60. And one of my favorites, Twisted's The Green Book, is celebrating 20 years today. Now while Twisted did put out their own little anniversary stuff for that, it would have been cool to see a Record Store Day pressing of something from that era. With this also being the 50th anniversary of hip-hop that they keep celebrating through Spotify, YouTube, and every music streaming service, you would probably expect them to have a lot more rap stuff like they do have 3 6 Mafia, De La Soul, but that is a 7-inch box set. That's a stupid idea in my opinion. Cypress Hill, Lil Wayne, Post Malone, and a lot of others. But I feel like there are some other good ones that could have been put out, for my personal favorites, Missy Elliott's Missy So Addictive, or her most recent one, Iconology, or even KRS-One with maybe I Got Next, or Return of the Boom Bap being put out. Also, one thing I like to pick on, because I hear a lot of people talking about it, and I wanted to put my 2 cents on it. They think that everyone loves picture discs. We all love getting picture discs. I've never heard a single person say anything positive about a picture disc. For one, they try to hike up the price most of the time with a damn album, even though it's just a stupid picture on it. The quality is so much less, and they're always sleeved, and these stupid plastic sleeves, as you've seen on some of my YouTube shorts, especially with the Nightmare Before Christmas one. And unfortunately, there are so many albums I have had to pass on that have been picture discs, like Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Brain Salad Surgery getting a release. I believe it was this year or the year prior. And even the new Rob Zombie one, I was actually interested in checking that out, but when I saw the picture disc, I'm passing. And I'm not going to pay that premium for a funny little picture anymore. And another thing I want to point out, along with the picture disc thing, the Eric Carr, I think it's called Rockology, that got a release back in, I believe it was April's Record Store Day this year. They got that on the vinyl, and they got it on CD. I personally didn't pick it up because I don't like the album, and it was a bit too much for me to be worth spending on. But why is it getting 2 more releases? It's getting another CD release, and it's getting a picture disc. Who the hell needs that much Eric Carr? They also have been getting a lot more jazz and big band heavy with their releases, which I can respect in some parts. But at the same time, I do not think I've ever heard anyone in the past 2 years hyped for the new Dave Brubeck Quartet or the new Charles Mingus live albums. I am starting to hate these 10 to 15 times more than I ever have. That's one of the reasons I stopped collecting a lot of the Bowie stuff coming out, because it's just milking the damn live albums. I don't need more live albums of the same shit. Very few live albums from Record Store Day that I've picked up have actually sounded okay and good, with The Doors putting out one, I believe 4 or 5 years ago. I'll put it up here. It's one of their first recordings or whatever, and that sounded pretty cool. That's a really cool archival piece to have in a collection. Most of the ones I get, they maybe get 1 listen and then they get shelved. They're just there just to take up space. And unfortunately, a lot of the times they're worth a lot more than a normal album would be. Some of these live albums are getting up to $40-$50, and especially if you listen to Grateful Dead, and they've been milking the fuck out of their releases with live albums and all that shit. The 5 LP box set, $125. Who likes the Grateful Dead that much? I know I give them shit, and I'm not saying I'm the biggest fan, and I don't hate them. I like, what is it, American Beauty? That's a good album from them. I like that. I'll listen to that. But I don't need $100+ box set of the same shit they put out before. Like, think of something else. Like, remix an album. Do something cool. Stop just being lazy and just throwing that out. I will say, even though I said all of that, I am still going to get some stuff at Record Store Day. And I am going because it's tradition for me. I like searching through the dollar bins at nighttime, waiting 12 hours for a record. I did last times was 13 hours I waited. Because I'm not messing around. When I want something, I want it. But one thing I am surprised though, I even pointed it out with the Twisted thing. I'm surprised they didn't put anything out. Because they normally at least put some weird thing out. They've put like holiday little vinyls out with like the My Ornaments remix thing. I think it's Ain't Been Right, the Splitting This Pink Picture disc. They've always put something out on Record Store Day, Black Fridays, at least most of the time, and this time there wasn't, and that threw me off. But here's some of the stuff I will be getting, just to show you that I'm not just going to be shitting on this. I'll scooch over here so that way the album can be right here-ish. First one is the Captain Beefheart Shiny Beast Bat Chain Puller 45th Anniversary Deluxe Edition. It features an extra LP of unreleased demos, rough mixes, and alternate versions. I love that stuff. That's cool. That's the stuff that needs to be saved and archived because it will be lost if no one does. So praises to Captain Beefheart's team for doing that. Here's another cool one. This is like a lost album being revived again. This is Fraternity's Second Chance. It is a collection of rare recordings. It was from an archive of the band Manager, and it actually featured Bon Scott from AC/DC on vocals. That was the band, I think, that got him noticed by AC/DC. So that was a pretty cool thing. I'm definitely going to be picking that up. Because apparently no one's heard it before. It's, like, new. Here's a weird one. I don't know if I'm going to pick this up or not. This one's kind of an iffy one, but it sounds cool. It's called Jesus Lizard, and it's their album Blue. It's their final album. And from what I heard, it's not a bad listen. It just depends on if the price is right for me. Same with his next one. It's the Konami Classics Best of NES. It's just video game soundtracks. This one's weird. This is going to be definitely price-based for me. Because while it is a cool thing, some of the tracks on there are like 5 to 10 seconds. Like, it's like snippets. And I feel like that's kind of a bummer. It should have just been the full sound. Like the full songs and all. Even though if they're like a minute or 2 minute songs, I would rather have that than like little clips here. And the last one, I'm definitely going to try to grab this one. It's 3-6 Mafia, The Unbreakables. Been trying to find any of their albums on vinyl, especially their first one, and then when I think it's when the smoke clears. It's hard to get them because they're so expensive and they're limited run and all that crazy shit. Like, they're very hard to get and come by. So I feel like this is a good place to start. It's a decent album, and it's like, when are you going to be able to find it again? I don't know if it's an exclusive or if it's the first. I didn't check that part of it. And while this is not the most exciting Record Store Day for me, the best part about it for me is waiting in line, talking to friends of mine that go there, and just the excitement of being able to go in there and grab your record. That's always fun for me, and I never get tired of that. And I've been doing it since 2017, and I think I'm going to keep doing it for as long as I can until my shelves give out. And thank you everybody for listening to this video, hearing me rant about whatever the hell I want to rant about. And if you liked the video, let me know down below. Like, comment, subscribe, share, do it again. See you in the next one.